When I joined Ryder about 10 years ago, we were around, I want to say 120 people, and over the last decade we've increased to, I think the current count's maybe 350, 360. And we've now got a global presence. 2020 was a very busy year for us. It was a real paradigm shift in how we had to work. It prompted a large shift to cloud-based systems. With so many people working remotely, taking phone calls and keeping in communication was really increasingly difficult, and it became very obvious that our existing phone system was just not up to the task. I think the biggest driver was flexibility. With everyone working from home, it just meant that no one could take any calls, or if someone was on reception, all the phones were on the desks and people were sat at their desks at home, so it just didn't work. And I think once we did start to come back in the office, there was a lot of hot desking involved, so it meant that they didn't know which extension to put people through to, because it was a different desk every day. And yeah, moving to hosted telephony really just improved all of that. We started off by telling TruStack what we really needed from a system, i.e. more flexibility, and they came back with a number of different options that they could offer. So Ryder's been a big user of 365 for a long time. Having a system that integrated directly into Teams, part of the scoping phase, it became very obvious that was a big factor, and we tailored the proposal to what we needed from there. Implementing the system was quite complex because it was a big change in how people were taking calls, because initially people were picking up a phone, dialing on an actual physical device, whereas it was all moving to Teams. The implementation took around 2 weeks. There was a fair amount of work done before the go live date. TruStack were great, really responsive. They were here physically in the office next to our receptionists, listening to their concerns, listening to their suggestions and making changes as we went. Originally, all our calls would come into individual offices around the UK, whereas the decision was made to have all of our calls come to Newcastle, and then they would then be answered by a team of receptionists. Because of the big changes to the call flow that we wanted, we weren't quite sure how it would work, whether or not having calls from all our UK offices come to one number, whether that would be too much demand for the receptionists. But we were always assured that if need be, we could always revert back to individual offices answering calls if necessary, and luckily we haven't had to do that. It's worked pretty well. The TruStack were really helpful with the training. They had a number of videos. We had live calls with groups, focus groups across Ryder to show how various elements of the system worked. The system's it's so much more flexible. It doesn't matter where they are. They can be in a coffee shop, they can be at home, they can be in the office, and they can take their calls just as easily as if they were sat at the desk. It's taken a huge amount of the burden from our receptionists. They're absolutely over the moon with how the call flow works now and how easy it is to transfer calls or take messages, pass things on. They have full visibility of people's presence and whether they're away from the desks, whether they're in a call at the moment, whether they're out of office. It's really helped in that respect, because they can immediately see in the call list whether someone's available to pass a call through. Otherwise, they can take a message, they can put it straight through to their voicemail. They're really happy with how it's worked. It was a worthwhile investment for the business, considering how much more flexibility it gives us. I think it was deemed that it was definitely worthwhile investing the money. From a client perspective, I would say it's either been seamless or positive. I think some clients haven't noticed at all, or they're just happy that they can actually get through to people now, which during the pandemic, it was a matter of taking endless phone messages and passing them on, which just was very clunky. I think what makes TruStack trustworthy is there's always been an openness that we've not really encountered before from other other suppliers, which is really quite refreshing. They don't seem to push particular products for the sake of pushing. They spend a lot of time choosing the right products for their portfolio. It's great to know that we have that pool of knowledge there that we can kind of tap into, and managed service partner is quite a good way of putting it, yeah. They'll work their hardest to get us the right solution that we need. I see no reason why we wouldn't use TruStack going forward for a long time, yeah.